Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the video store, the place that we can go to every week when it's movie night. On days like today, when the store is quiet, I get to chat to my friends about the films and the series that we're loving. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
How's it?
Good morning.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Fine.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Are you strong?
Yeah, I'm pretty strong.
Yeah, very strong.
Good. We've got ourselves a Kolsky,
Hey.
who is a digital copywriter.
Yeah.
We're not working here at the video store. We've got ourselves a P-Dog.
Hello. I don't know. I tried something new.
It's good. No, I appreciate it.
Call the musicians like, actually.
It's a major third. I think.
you need
It's a
to bring it
perfect
down.
All right. We've got ourselves a Perrin,
How's it?
who is a, writer, director,
Yeah.
camera person, everything. We're not working here.
Plumber. Roofman, whatever you need.
And my name is Russell. I am the owner of The Bioscope, which is an independent cinema here in Johannesburg. And every now and again, we get behind this counter. We work our shift here at the video store. So thank you for wandering in to our lovely video store. We've got lots of movies and series here on the shelves. And hopefully we can figure out something for you guys to watch. And also just be informed on what's happening in this world.
Yeah.
Because sometimes life imitates art and art imitates life.
That's right.
We are witnessing the decline of the American empire, as Perrin puts it, and we are watching season 1 of The Handmaid's Tale slowly come closer and closer.
Yeah.
Hickeys.
Yeah, scary.
We will talk about that and many things. I want to talk about Snow White,
Okay.
which is a movie not for gentlemen in their 30s, but still something for gentlemen in their 30s to
Get
perhaps
angry about.
chat
Yeah.
about,
Okay.
or just chat about in general, because I think there were lots of rumblings, as the world knows. I don't think we really even know what we were rumbling about half the time.
Yeah.
But
The
out
DEI.
No.
but out this movie comes, and I'm here to tell you that it's pretty traditional, pretty harmless,
Okay.
and pretty charming.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. I want to talk a little bit about just the first one in general, because I think we haven't watched it, and we don't really talk much about the 1937 Snow White.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's some interesting stuff to talk about with that. There's some great television.
There's great television, dude.
Yeah,
talk.
we're in the middle of
The golden age.
the golden
For
age,
sure.
but White Lotus, Severance, a
Wheel
whole
of
bunch
Time.
of stuff. Okay, is that what you're watching?
What are you watching?
The Wheel of Time.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay, lovely. Okay, but we tend to start these days with a little "Hey, did you guys see?" So it's our quick little news flash roundtable. Does anyone want to kick this one off?
Not me.
I'll
I
do it.
haven't been watching.
Okay, P-Dog,
Yeah. Okay, I hate teasers for trailers. Like,
you got to say the line.
oh, sorry. Hey, did you guys see the teaser for the trailer? For the new Paul Thomas Anderson film came
Okay.
out, and I'm fucking pumped for that.
Now,
So now you like teasers.
No, I mean the proper trailer is coming out this week.
Okay.
But yeah,
I've seen this in the schedule. So as a cinema owner, I'm privy to a release schedule where for months, even into next year,
Shit.
I'm seeing when these films are like dated to release, because they
Yes.
often just put a little flag in the sand
Yeah.
so that everybody knows, okay, stay away from and often untitled. So it'll be like untitled Universal film.
Yeah,
And
It's
then
like I
everyone
saw
goes
that.
like, oh, fuck, that might be a big dinosaur movie.
Yes.
Let's stay away from that and release on another day.
Yeah.
But I've seen untitled Paul Thomas Anderson
we have
film.
a title now.
What is the title?
One battle after another. One battle after another.
Okay.
And what do we know what it's about?
Not really. I mean, it's based on a Robert Pynchon novel, but all we know is from what we saw is that like Leo DiCaprio is teaching his daughter how to shoot or something. But it's like it's a cool little teaser because it's like a
Shit.
pregnant woman with a machine gun shooting, and then it cuts to like I'm assuming his daughter later on shooting and stuff like that, and he's like this weird like beardy man with a gun rifle and stuff like that. I don't really know what
kind
the
of
book
time?
is
What
about.
kind of time period are we in?
I think it's contemporary. Because
Okay.
it'll be his
Leo
first,
DiCaprio.
it'll be his first contemporary film since Punch Drunk. Yeah.
Okay, can you give me a quick rehash on Paul Thomas Anderson? Because I often get him confused with
Resident Evil guy.
well, I get him confused with
No.
the
The better Paul Thomas, yeah.
no,
Yeah,
with the
Paul
dude who
W.S.
made Sideways and
Oh,
Holdovers.
Alexander Payne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alexander
Okay.
Payne
So-
and Paul Thomas Anderson somehow are confuddled
Okay,
in my brain.
so PTA is literally in my top 3 favorite filmmakers of all time.
The big ones being
So There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, Boogie Nights,
Yes.
Punch Drunk Love, The Master,
yes,
Phantom Thread, which is fucking amazing and it's so underrated.
okay.
Inherent Vice gets better with each viewing.
Oh, Inherent Vice.
You
I
and
love that movie.
myself and Cole watched that in lockdown. It was one of
Yes.
our like nerdy cinema films.
When he looks at that photo of like,
I definitely need another watch then.
and he just gives it back.
no, my favorite's Josh Brolin just
Eating
eating a
this-
handful of weed and just like eating it.
When he's eating the lollipop in the car, and
Oh,
Paul
yes.
Thomas Anderson's just Joaquin
Phoenix.
Phoenix is just watching him, and he's like, "Oh, it's so good."
I didn't enjoy that one, so I
Oh,
think I
really?
need more viewings.
It gets better with each viewing. First time I watched it, I didn't know how to feel. I was conflicted. Every time I've watched it after, it's
Okay.
fucking
So,
great.
like-
It's great, like paranoia, LA stoner noir. It's great.
I
It's
had,
such a
like-
niche genre.
yeah.
I had the benefit of a literature student breaking down the novel for me and talking about how it's about like urban expansion, but then the period at the end of the free love movements in America and how that's kind of being stifled by like
Yeah.
conservative values and it's like being killed.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
basically.
interesting. This is
Yeah.
Inherent Vice.
Yeah. If you want to
because-
see Martin Short as a coked up dentist,
Yes.
that's your movie, man.
Because Boogie Nights was also this lovely change in society as that kind of porn era comes to an end and it's just getting a bit more icky. I think it was the sort of start of HIV in the 90s and the
Yeah.
sort of, interesting.
Yeah, that's. I mean, PTA, his most common themes throughout. I mean, it changed for a brief period after, like, between The Master and now. But like a lot of his movies, his themes often involved dysfunctional family. If you look at all of his movies, there's always some sort of family element about dysfunctionality. You know what I mean?
Has he ever won an Oscar?
No, he should have won for There Will Be Blood. He should have won Best Director for that.
And also Phantom Thread was very nominated at its time, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest, The Master. So The Master is my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. That's got all the nominations for acting, but somehow didn't get a nomination for directing or writing. Like, that is weird to me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
because the director directs that
Yeah,
acting.
exactly.
It's not always the performance.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he should have won for There Will Be Blood.
You
That was a
craft
strong
it.
year. Fuck
Yes.
me.
You craft that performance out of the actor as the
Yeah.
director.
You also edit it.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, did you guys see what the bioscope is screening on Easter Sunday?
Is it The Passion of the Christ?
Life of Brian.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
And I was like, how in 15 years of the bioscope
Have you never done that?
have we never done
Wow.
The Life of Brian as the classic movie Sunday
That is
on Easter
genius.
Sunday?
I love that. Yeah.
It was like, this is either the best idea or like the most insensitive idea I've
Yeah,
ever had.
exactly.
But what I love about it is that Brian isn't Jesus. He's just Jesus' neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the classic Monty Python film is all set around the time of Jesus where a very innocent, very normal guy called Brian is mistaken for Jesus. And it's delightful and it's funny and it's timeless. It's so timeless. When they're debating the rights of like giving birth.
Yes.
And he's like, but you're a dude. He's like, no, but I still need the right to have babies because maybe I want babies. But they're like, but you're a dude.
Crazy.
It's timeless. It's so good. And it's like, are you the Judean People's Front? And he's like, fuck off. You're the People's Front of Judea.
yeah, I remember
One of
that.
them.
Yeah, I love it. No, so I'm
awesome.
excited to screen that.
Brilliant. That's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the Resurrection of the Passion of the Christ. What's the sequel?
Oh yeah, he's been talking about that for ages.
Yeah.
He's gonna arise with a machine gun.
No, well, that's the Family Guy joke.
Oh really? Is
No,
it really?
there's literally a Family Guy joke about Passion of the Christ 2. And it's him with like a Chris Rock or
like a sidekick.
Chris Tucker character where he's like, like, "Damn, Jesus, you're crazy!" And they're like shooting their guns and like going after.
I mean,
each
it
other.
makes sense because Trump appointed Gibson, Voight, and Stallone as like his strong muscle men to make Hollywood strong again. Like,
Oh yeah.
so
Oh my God.
Jesus is going to come up and he's be like, "I'm not actually Jewish, I'm Christian," and shoots everyone. Take that, Christ killers. And then explosions and fucking, yeah.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
Lovely. Have you got any Hey Did You Guys See, Cole?
No, not necessarily news, but hey, did you guys see talking about the Bible? And those movies tend to be terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Conservative movies tend to be garbage.
But then there's a trailer for a series, I don't know if it's a miniseries, on Amazon Prime called The House of David, about David and Goliath.
Oh, cool.
And the trailer, I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, no. Does this look good? I'm sorry, this looks great. Like, they're all brown people.
Oh, wow.
It's like, okay, cool, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it's all about, like, the unsuspecting, I don't know, shepherd's boy that, like, rises through the ranks of the army to fight Goliath at the end. But they've turned it into an entire story, and it looks good. It looks like epic, right? Like, it's shot epic. And,
Yeah.
and I just saw the trailer. It like,
looks
there was
good.
something in it, dude. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
You're talking about authenticity.
Yes. Well done. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Jesus was a brown man, folks.
Yeah.
He was a brown man.
100%.
Yeah.
With woolen hair, yeah. I think, do you know what, like...
Big calloused hands.
Yeah, because he's a carpenter.
Carpenter.
Yeah. The thing is, like you said, you know, these conservative movies tend to be awful, especially faith-based movies. So it's very hard when you find a faith-based movie that's actually fucking good. I mean, Silence is a faith-based movie. It is.
Or signs.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Silence, Lost Temptation of Christ.
I mean,
Those are
recently
faith-based
Conclave.
movies. Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a
It's
faith
100
moment in that climax where you're just like, oh, the Holy Spirit's with us.
Yeah.
And I was like in it with the drama. I was
I
like,
mean,
fuck yeah, guys.
he even has that speech about faith, like without
Yes.
we need doubt for faith
Yes.
to live, and
Yes.
it's such a great moment. So yeah,
Gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gorgeous.
last week I went on a big rant about the movie The Forge
Oh yeah,
because
It's on
it's
Netflix,
in the
right?
top 10. It's been in the top 5 for ages, and it's
Is it The Gorge?
no,
no,
the
not
Forge.
to
Okay.
be confused with the science fiction fantasy movie
Yeah.
from Apple called The Gorge.
Yeah.
This is The Forge, which is
Where is it?
it's on
on
Netflix. No,
Netflix, yeah.
don't waste your time. It's a very Christian movie, but in a way that's like it's a bit painful.
Was that terrible trailer that was happening last year about that family? And there's 2 kids, and then
No.
sorry, okay.
No.
There was a trailer going around, and I was just like, "Fuck this trailer! It is
Yeah.
pathetic."
No, it was just a bit much. But we don't have to get into it.
We don't.
Should we chat movies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
why not?
cool. All right.
Oh wait, one more.
Yeah,
Conan
yeah.
O'Brien is returning as Oscar host next year.
Fuck yeah.
yeah, excited
cool.
for that, man.
Lovely.
And hopefully they let him do a Billy Crystal film montage.
Yeah, like
'cause
he
they
wanted
didn't.
to fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Anyways,
Awesome.
over to you, Russ.
Lovely. I think it's worth chatting a little bit about Snow White.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's for youngsters.
Okay.
It's for kids, primarily women. I mean, young girls. So
I think it's always been the case.
that's always been the case. And it was delightful. It was fine. It was lekker. It was solid.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Um,
I'm glad to hear that because it was so like its
Yeah, it's been
arrival
dragged,
has
eh?
been like so muddied by
Yeah.
like the shit that's what's her name? The lead actress?
Rachel Zegler.
Rachel Zegler. Like the shit that she said.
So yeah, so for
And-
starters, we don't have to dwell in the controversies, but let's
Totally.
use the controversies as a way to talk about this movie. So one of the first ones was, correct me if I'm wrong, but the fact that she's not a white person.
Yeah.
She's Latina.
She's Latina,
Yeah.
and we all know Snow White is called Snow White because of the whiteness of her skin.
Yes.
So obviously this caused a little hustle and bustle and controversy out there, but who gives a shit? So this movie explains it and gives a new reason, which is that on the night that she was born, it was a very snowy night, and so she was named after the whiteness of the snow
See,
on
that's
the night that she was
fine.
born.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Come on.
Because in a lot of European history, there was a lot of Persian and
Yeah,
darker
exactly.
folks. And so people don't need to be lily white. And also, who gives a fuck? The
Yeah.
first one, and so I went back and watched a little bit of the first one. I didn't have enough time to watch the whole thing through, but it was interesting to watch the 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is obviously on Disney Plus, and you realize you just get into it straight away.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
This-
Bambi as well starts straight away.
Yeah.
Just starts straight away with very little context of her upbringing, where she came from, her parents. There's no mention of her parents
No.
in the original. But this one builds a bit more context, which I think is quite nice. And it sets up the idea that her parents were good people that were trying to raise her right with good
Yeah.
values and telling her how she can make a difference in the world. And so it's like they're injecting good values and good
Right.
morals into her, which I think is interesting. So that's the one thing, is the difference in where the name comes from.
Yes.
I just want to point out at one point how fucking old that first movie is.
Yeah. 1937. It's nearly 100 years.
It is very old, and
Yeah.
it's like it just audibly is so old.
Right.
And
The
I don't
mics sound old.
yeah, and we just don't
Everything's clipping.
Yeah.
so
Basically.
we don't all watch it, do we?
I watched it. It's like I watched it like a couple times.
Yeah, I watch old movies.
But recently,
No. But like,
when we were kids.
I watched it when I was kids. I watched it once when I got the DVD, when it like they were releasing all the classic films on
Yeah,
DVD.
yeah.
And I watched it then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a lovely piece of filmmaking. Did you know? Hey, did you guys see that the first song in the movie "Someday My Prince Will Come"?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's become a jazz standard.
Oh,
A
wow.
couple times I've been out at a jazz evening,
That's
and they
crazy.
start pulling out "Someday My Prince Will Come," and I'm like, oh fuck, it's
Wow.
a jazz standard.
That
That's
was
cool.
that was one of the songs that was scrapped in the new one.
It's such a
um,
beautiful song.
Because
I
the
wonder
other
if it's
thing
rights.
well,
it has to do with.
so
yeah.
so there is no prince.
Okay,
He's a normal dude. He's
Okay.
got a name. In the original, you don't even know what this prince's name is.
Yeah,
It's
then he just
the
comes
prince.
and kisses a sleeping woman.
And within the first minute of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, he's just like, "Oh, I'm a prince and I'm on a horse and I look over the wall and there you are and now I love you." And she's
Yes.
like, "Now I love you."
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
let me-
It's like,
outdated.
there's no fucking build up.
Yeah.
There's no courting. There's nothing. It's just like, "Oh, I'm the prince."
Yeah.
And the prince of what? Who fucking knows?
It's a
So
very
anyways,
much old school fairy tale.
yeah,
right?
and so
Yeah.
that part just lacks, I think, a lot of meaning and purpose. So in this one, we are introduced to Jonathan, is his name,
Okay.
and
Is it
he's-
Jonathan Bailey?
that's just his name. His
damn
name
it.
is
Pulls
Jonathan,
out.
and he's
No, I'm not
he's,
watching.
he's more of a Robin Hood kind of character.
Okay.
Okay.
So he lives in the woods, and they are like a sort of rebel army of some sort.
Ragtag. Yeah.
A ragtag group of rebels that don't like the queen, and he is the true love's kiss. So it's still traditional in that sense, but he's not this prince, and she's not. She still needs him to break the spell at the end, but he's not the prince that she's been waiting for.
Yeah.
She's the prince that she meets, likes, and fucking chooses to be with.
In the original,
That's cool.
So
I
there's
like
no
that.
fucking harm.
Yes.
There's no one is harmed.
But yeah,
Yes.
the woke liberal left have, of course, ruined our traditional Snow White values. you
Yeah,
know?
well, this is the thing is that
Fucking idiots.
so Rachel
Jesus
Zegler
Christ.
was saying this, building up to the release, going, she's not waiting for her prince, and it's not about the prince coming to save her. And so
Yeah,
that
exactly.
stirred the pot a bit.
yeah.
But she still falls in love. She still needs the guy to break the spell. It's still there.
Okay.
It just
Does
comes
he-
with a more of a 360
Okay.
sort of. He's got a name for the start.
Yes.
They actually spend time together.
Yes. In the original, did the prince know that there was a spell, or did he just kiss a sleeping woman?
That's where she was. I'm pretty sure he just kissed her because she was like. I
'Cause she
actually
was
can't remember, if
beautiful
I'm being
and
honest.
asleep, so it's the necrophilia is
Well,
just
I know that's why. So one of her things was she said that the original is quite problematic. Like
It is.
she wasn't shitting on the film's overall meaning. She was like, there's just problematic instances in it. And then, of course, all these neckbeards fucking stormed on Facebook and were like, how dare she take away my favorite movie that I only cared about 5 minutes ago.
And also these
you know?
guys that have never given a shit about Snow White in their entire
that
lives.
literally,
Yeah.
like,
You know?
I think the point
they were
that is
fucking white
interesting
dudes as well.
about the outrage, I think the point that's interesting is that there will always be some level of rumblings
yes.
and ugliness. I think what made this movie particularly different is that this seemed overwhelming. The criticisms and the
Before it even came out, though.
controversy was bigger than the love.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this thing tipped. You know, like Star Wars will always have people going back this and this and this, and there'll always be some grumblings and some Reddit threads that are fucking negative.
Yes.
But I think in this case, what made it interesting was that it was overwhelmingly big, and I think that's because the general public don't necessarily care or want or needed this film. It wasn't. We weren't dying to get a remake of a 1937 fairy tale.
Yeah, I think it was balanced by like bad criticisms and good criticisms as well. So like, unfortunately, the bad criticisms outscaled it because Peter Dinklage came out and was like, "What the fuck with the CGI dwarves?"
Yeah.
He was like, "There's actors available to do that. At least give them a chance to prove they can do that." You know what I mean?
Okay,
So
so
he
that
was
was the
like
other part
upset
of it.
about that.
Yes.
Because the CGI, when I saw the trailer, I was like, Jesus, this looks terrible. Just
Yeah.
from the dwarves, like it looks bad.
Yeah.
You know? I don't care. Like I personally, I dig Rachel Zegler. I thought she was outstanding in West Side Story. I think she's phenomenal. But a lot of the outrage came from literally right-wing, white conservative dudes, mostly.
Yeah.
And they just also these ugly posts that I see popping around where they're like, like they of course show the most unflattering picture of Rachel Zegler, and they're like, "Wow, Gal Gadot's really jealous of her beauty." Like, fuck
Yeah.
off, you assholes!
No,
like,
it's terrible.
Yeah, so then what you also come to realize is it's the inner beauty, and so it's
Yeah.
all about being good and being a good person, which is lovely values to install
Of
in a
course,
Totally.
in a young girl or a young person in general. The dwarves were a little difficult to watch. We haven't quite seen that kind of
like Uncanny Valley.
well,
kind of vibes?
no, they were actually done really well, but we just haven't seen that kind of level of CGI being done.
Right.
Okay.
Where it's super realistic, like every little sort of
Hair,
hair on their
face.
head.
yeah.
But it's totally fine.
Okay.
The other thing which is interesting is there's more of a context between Snow White and the evil stepmother, which in the original they were very far apart. They actually spent very little time actually interacting, where in this case you can actually see the build up of their relationship and the opposing sort of forces of their beliefs. So there's just more context in that sense. The stepmother dies in a different way. It's a bit more it's a bit more sort of Snow White to her. Then it's also her own undoing. It's interesting. There's a few little differences.
What are the musical numbers like? I heard they're really, really like quite impressive.
No, they're great.
Yeah.
They're good. They're solid, and they still give an ode to a couple of the old ones. Whistle
Okay.
While We Work.
Okay.
Hi
Ho.
Hi Ho. They've added to that, but then there's some nice sort of more cheeky ones that are a bit more like they feel a little bit more like Wicked.
Okay.
They're very sort of that modern popular musical sounding songs. Because once again, that old one is just so old
Yeah.
that it just sounds
Yeah,
like
you got to.
it sounds like you're putting on this old little jazz record with like
Yeah.
these voices sort of
Scratches and
far away that are it's very
Yeah.
interesting. But I just thought it would be worth mentioning that how much of a success the first one was. And so it made $8 million during its initial release against its
Inflation.
budget of 1.5 million.
Shit.
So 8 million in 1937 is incredible.
Gargantuan, yeah.
So becoming the highest grossing film of 1938, which it then came out, briefly holding the record of the highest grossing sound film of all time. It was also the highest grossing animated film for 55 years.
Jesus.
Don't forget, this is also its biggest title is the fact that it was the first
Animated film.
Yeah.
feature film.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Lion King probably broke that.
I think it must have been,
Yeah, 55 years
Adjusted for
later.
inflation,
Yeah.
it's one of the top 10 performers at the North American box office and is still the highest grossing animated film if adjusted for
Yeah.
inflation,
Sure.
which is like 2.2 billion.
But do you know what's crazy about when you mention that it's such an old movie? When we were
Wow.
growing up, like with Disney movies, I mean, most of us, I'm assuming, had some sort of Disney tape on
Yes.
or
Yeah.
something, right? Because we were at that age where we didn't care what we were watching, really, we didn't really know how old things were. I didn't
Yes.
realize Little Mermaid was the fucking 80s. I didn't realize Jungle
Robin
Book
Hood.
was the 60s. Yeah,
Yeah,
Robin
dude.
Hood's 50s, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's old.
It's fucking old. And like, it's crazy how those stories stick with us regardless of how old they are, because they made such an impression on us as children. You know
Yes.
what I mean? There's moments in those movies that are forever embedded in our fucking brains, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
It's crazy.
especially when they're just in that old princess castle time,
yeah.
which is like, what the fuck was that time? Was that the Renaissance? Like, when was that? When were we in fucking castles riding to each other's houses on horses?
I always assumed it was
When
like,
was that?
because it's
Yeah,
too,
where?
Yeah,
And where? It was
Yeah,
all like
it's
it's all like sort of some part of Europe.
But yeah,
Yes.
it's always like, because I know a lot of those castles are based on those German castles in Bavaria and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so they wouldn't even be speaking English.
yeah,
You fuckhead.
with American accents.
Yeah.
Let's
And they
talk
wouldn't be
about the
they wouldn't be
historical-
called
Yeah.
Eric and Jonathan. They'd be
Yes.
like
Why would
Fritz
people
and fucking-
getting angry about this,
Yeah.
man? You know?
And then also they wouldn't be just choosing who they love, right?
Yeah.
Their parents would be making alliances, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
marriage
Yes.
is a contract. That's
Someone really fucked up on that, eh? Wow.
Yeah,
But
dude.
one part of the controversy that doesn't do the film any favors was the fact that you have Gal Gadot, who is Israeli,
yeah,
um,
IDF.
being
She's
a
pro-Zionist
supporter
now.
of Israel, and then you've got Rachel Zegler, who is,
pro-Palestine.
although
Yeah.
Latina, still, you
Yeah.
know, is a supporter of Palestine.
Yeah.
And in the movie, you very much have a strong military force
Yeah.
in the Queen,
Ooh.
subjugating her brown
Horses.
stepdaughter to sort of clean the floors and
Yeah.
live a life where she doesn't know how powerful
Hectic.
Or-
Filmmakers knew it.
Just some subtext.
you know, or important her role is in society until she finds her voice. So yeah, it's interesting. in
and then
that
isn't there a
capacity.
rebellion?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
she's
it's
not
framed
bad.
as like a really positive thing in Hollywood storytelling.
Yeah.
But then when that happens in real life, they're fucking
She's
terrorists.
she's not jealous of her look. She's jealous of her land. Like, that's what's happening, man.
That's the real reason.
Yeah, I know a lot of the press, I don't know if they're doing it to pump up awareness for it, to like, you know, bad press is good press kind of thing.
Yes.
I know they've already started saying that apparently they just don't get along, those two, like in real life, because their views are so different from one another. They just
Wow.
don't get along.
Yeah.
Like not that they fight, they just know that they're different. They avoid each other. You know
Which
what
is
I mean? 'Cause
fine.
they
You
will
colleagues,
fight.
you had to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, just to close it off, instead of big premieres and having these stars walk red carpets around the world, they chose to minimize that
Yeah.
because they didn't want to subjugate the cast to these kinds of
Bullying and
negative
stuff,
questions. And so, yeah, it just became one of those films that just unfortunately got lost in its own hurricane.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hurricane works. You know, sometimes it
Yes.
just breaks through. And that's all you can wish for with a piece of creative art, especially a film. That there is so much being released. If you just get some heat on your stove,
Yeah.
to get some bubbles in your pot, like
Yeah.
you are lucky. No, because
I
they
love Russell's metaphors. Sorry.
because you just simply can't break through. And I think that's
Yes.
maybe something to talk about now, perhaps as we move on to Black Bag.
Okay.
If there's anything else to mention on Snow White, mention it. But, you know, Black Bag was just one of those smaller spy thrillers that
Yeah.
was going to get
Soderbergh.
lost. And so it's quite nice to see it getting some praise. But we'll start talking about that in a bit.
Can you guys give me a back of the box on Black Bag? I feel like I've
Are you
missed
ready?
it
Are you ready to
completely.
move on? I'm happy to
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. Okay, so I got the chance to watch Black Bag quite a while ago at an exhibitor screening, and I really must say I really want to try and temporarily employ you guys to work at the Bioscope so that you can come and join me, because what you miss in these exhibitor screenings is the chance to hear the gasps, the laughs, the you know, the reactions which you get at the media screenings that we have
Yes.
traditionally gone to. But what's nice about the exhibitor screenings is that they're quite far in advance, which is what I find very helpful.
Okay.
So I walked out of that going, Jesus, that was a bit smart, but like maybe a bit too smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's not a bad thing.
no.
And so what it is, it's a spy thriller where you've got Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, who are husband and wife that both work in British intelligence.
Okay.
Okay, so they're part of that sort of MI6 world. There's a nice, sexy headquarters. Pierce Brosnan's their sort of boss.
Some nice meta narrative there.
And so there is that sort of heightened level of kind of cool, slick James Bondian kind of spyness to it, but it doesn't have the pomp and over the topness of it. It feels like it's rooted quite
In reality.
And it's all about the sort of this situation that Michael Fassbender finds himself in, where he has to actually be monitoring his wife. But he trusts her, but he realizes he doesn't know certain things, and she's kept certain things from him.
Okay.
I'm not giving much away, but the term black bag is when him as the husband says, "Where are you going? Like, what is this trip that you have to do?" And she says, "Black bag," as in like,
Don't go there.
You can't know.
Okay.
So they've got secrets that they keep from each other, but it is rooted in a lot of realism, in the sense that you actually walk out of this movie going, I didn't actually see much action. It's an action movie without the action. It's all very cerebral. Like there are these really great, well-crafted scenes at a dinner party where someone in the group is the spy, was the mole.
Okay.
And Fassbender sort of invites them all for dinner. That's the sort of opening sort of sequence, is them hosting this dinner party where someone in their sort of intelligence group, is a problem.
Okay.
It's interesting, and of course Soderbergh doesn't have a standard sort of look and feel and style as a filmmaker.
Is he the DOP on this one again?
I think he might be, because this one's got a very interesting look. I think filmmakers could appreciate it. It's almost got this like glowy, misty,
Milky.
I wouldn't say milky.
It's like a bleach bypass, like Spielberg's early noughties, Minority Report, Munich. Anything like that?
No.
It's
It's not so much that. It almost looks like, in The Hobbit, when they were like, we're in ultra HD, but it looked like video.
Fuck, I hated that.
Oh, yeah.
It's got almost that kind of look where there's...
It's too clean.
But he's doubled down and put lots of candles on this dinner table, and they all glow in this particular way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Can we give the listeners context as to who Steven Soderbergh is, Perrin?
Yes. So let's go into that.
So Soderbergh is like one of the, if you look at the great like self-taught filmmakers from the early 90s onwards, you look at Soderbergh, Paul Thomas Anderson, Quentin Tarantino, obviously, and David O. Russell. They were the self-taught guys who taught everything by themselves. They made it that way, right?
Okay.
So Steven Soderbergh did, his breakthrough was Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which he won the Palme d'Or for in the late 80s. And he's basically an indie darling. He's one of those guys who would make like 2 to 3 films a year, each one of them vastly different. He was one of the first guys to be shooting on iPhones and editing whole films off of an iPhone.
Shit.
He did another film this year called Presence, where the whole movie is through the POV of a ghost.
Sure.
Interesting idea.
Yeah.
Not great story, unfortunately. But Soderbergh, I mean, he did Traffic, he did Erin Brockovich, he did
the Ocean's
films. He's of those self-taught filmmakers, I regard him and Paul Thomas Anderson as the filmmakers with a large range that they've worked with. They've evolved, they've adapted, they've evolved again. You look at Paul Thomas Anderson's first films and you look at his latest films, completely different.
Right.
Tarantino kind of sticks the same line,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Same as David O. Russell. Soderbergh as well. You watch Sex, Lies, and Videotape, completely different to fucking Unsane. You know what I mean?
He's
Something like that.
never kept. Yeah, he's the complete opposite of a Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Instead of building this little box for himself, he's like, I'm going to be completely different each time. But I find it interesting that you use the term self-taught, because the irony is that you can go to film school, but like you don't learn.
Yeah.
You know, you learn some theory at film school, and perhaps you get a good chance to build your army of people that you can go out into the world with. But very famously, people have said, take all that money that you were going to spend on film school and travel the world.
Yeah.
Learn how to use a camera. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's the same as photography. Know what the fucking f-stop is and how to balance the perfect picture with shutter speed. That can take you 10 minutes.
Yes.
The next part is get to the fucking sunrise so that you can take a photo of the sunrise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jump into the marsh pit to take a photo.
Yes.
You can't theorize it from your bedroom.
Yes.
So it's like you got to go out and do.
Yeah.
So were these people? Because Tarantino famously worked at the video store.
Yeah.
But was that a big part of it that they didn't actually go to a film school?
So what I was going to get into, so Paul Thomas Anderson famously went to, I think it was New York Film School. It was one of the big film schools. He went there for like 3 days. He went there. First assignment was the guy was like, cool, I want you to write a scene, like a isolated moment. Just write a scene, right? So he wanted to test the waters. So PTA went home and he was like, okay, there's a great scene in the film called Hoffa. Hoffa was Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson. It was about Jimmy Hoffa. Danny DeVito directed that. Anyways, there's a scene in that movie where a guy's driving in a car and he lights a cigarette and he keeps it between his fingers on the steering wheel, but he's falling asleep. Every time it landed and burnt him, it would wake him up and he'd relight the cigarette.
Okay.
So like, it's a well-written scene. It's well-written in purpose, description, everything. And he brought that to the class, and the lecturer read that. He was like, this is a dog shit scene. What the fuck is this? It's terrible. It's blah. And PTA was like, cool, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
He took the money that he got his refund back for like admission and all that.
Yeah.
He told his dad, he's like, can I actually just make a short film? He was like, fine, do it. And that's how PTA got his start, is he made a short film with that money and he learned from that. And then you look at guys like Sean Baker as well. I think Sean Baker's because he's in the spotlight right now, great example of a filmmaker who does things with limited resources. I mean, Tangerine, which is about these trans prostitutes on Christmas Eve in LA, it's like a one-day event. It's such a great movie. Shot in an iPhone 5. So, like, you can do this stuff.
I think it's less, perhaps the term is less self-taught and more just great indie ingenuity.
Yeah, yes. And I mean, but that's what it is as well. I mean, like, I know, I hate Harmony Korine, but, like, he's got a good point where, like, these are filmmakers who are encouraging you that, like, the Romanian filmmaker Radu Jude, he thinks that social media and stuff like that now, like even YouTubers and stuff, they're technically filmmakers because they're capturing the zeitgeist in the now. They're capturing the moment.
Absolutely.
And they're using it to tell stories, regardless if those stories are bad or annoying or fucking skibbity toilet or all that shit.
The whole of TikTok is based on jump cuts and early film techniques.
But that's filmmaking. We learn to adapt. I mean, there's a great documentary called Room 666, right? So Wim Wenders directed that. It takes place in one single hotel room in Cannes in 1982, I think. And basically this documentary is the camera's sitting static and he interviews like 20 filmmakers of that time. So you see like big players. You see Spielberg when he was young. You see all these guys. And he allows them to record and talk to the camera how they want. And the one question the whole documentary is filmmaking dying? Is the art of filmmaking dying? And it's interesting to see how people in that time thought it's dead, we're fucked, like TV is...
so lovely.
It's interesting because they talk about how TV is ruining filmmaking. They're like, people have easier access to making movies now. It's not good for us.
And when was this?
1982. And then there's Room...
Because that's such a prevalent question now.
Room 999 came out last year, and it's not by Wim Wenders, but he's in it. Wim Wenders did Paris, Texas, Wings of Desire, great filmmaker. Room 999, same question. So it's interesting to see those filmmakers now are like, oh, social media's, we're dead. It's streaming. TV was the scary ogre back then. Streaming is a scary ogre now. And it's interesting to see filmmakers you respect going, oh, we're fucked. We're done. We're doomed. But then you see filmmakers you love as well. They're like, no, we're good. This is just another step in the evolution of filmmaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, I know we diverted, but it's important to know this stuff.
I love it. No, I love hearing you bring out this stuff. There was another great nugget in this whole sort of film school and self-taughtness, which was Mario Puzo had to adapt his novel into a screenplay to make The Godfather. and very much questioned his own ability in making a screenplay. And when he was commissioned to do more, he thought, "Fuck, I better go to film school."
Yeah, it was a
because
studio
I felt he felt like he was less than. And apparently in the class they were like, "Cool, your first assignment is read The Godfather."
No way.
It's like, okay. So funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, I think let's move on to TV.
Sure.
Okay, but yeah, Black Bag is in cinemas. Just to round that off, including the Bioscope. Very smart.
Okay.
You got to pay attention, but it's nice. It's an hour and a half. It's not an epic-y.
commitments.
Can I talk about one film very quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
I know you were excited to watch it. I watched Grand Theft Hamlet.
Oh, fuck.
And it's Hamlet done in Grand Theft Auto 5.
What?
Yeah, so,
I don't know anything about this. What
so it's a documentary, and it's about a group of... So the film follows 2 actors during COVID who did not have work. All the theaters were shut down and stuff, and they were playing G.T.A 5 online, and then they found a theater spot in Los Santos in the game. They're like, this is pretty cool, and then they start playing around with like Shakespeare, and they're like, why don't we put on a fucking play in the video game? So then they start holding auditions for other players to come. They would have to get other players to come and protect them because other arsehole players would come and just shoot them.
And kill them.
So the documentary is interesting because also one of the actors, his wife is a filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker. She obviously saw that as an opportunity. She's like, this is a fucking cool thing. And I mean, there's, the joke of like, oh, we waited this and we still haven't gotten GTA 6. We've got Shakespeare and GTA 5 and we still haven't gotten GTA 6.
That's amazing. I don't know much about
MUBI.
I don't know much about gaming. So this is a world that exists that you log into and you can run around and do what you want. And you fuck around and play with other people.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if you could do that in Grand Theft Auto 4. It was 5 that it really
That's
became
where you
a
go
moment.
online, yeah.
So like the story is always like there's a city that they build, and every single game the city just gets better, it gets more sophisticated, more believable. And you have it's a open world game where you can go anywhere you want. You can follow the storyline if you want, but also you can go
Side
hijack
quests,
cars and murder pedestrians, and you can go try do backflips off the Golden Gate Bridge or
sandbox.
It's a sandbox game, right? Mm-hmm. So then every game it gets bigger and bigger. The stories are really fucking good.
Yeah,
like the stories are cool.
Red Dead
It's always
Redemption,
to do with the
my God.
underworld of society.
Yeah,
and you're just like a goon, doing jobs.
GTA always because GTA and Red Dead Redemption are the same studio.
Yeah.
Red Dead was always more serious, like more
Cowboys.
dramatic. Fucking
I watched
amazing.
you play that in
Red Dead
COVID.
is so good. Oh my God. And then GTA has always been more tongue in cheek, more self-aware, funnier,
Yes.
So Grand Theft Hamlet is interesting. I mean, there are moments where you can tell because they're actors, they are fabricating a moment maybe.
Sure.
Like that didn't really happen. Like there's a scene where they confront each other and I could hear, I'm like,
this is a bit active.
because the whole movie is only the footage of the video game. So it's not, you don't cut away to talking heads. It's them walking around and figuring shit out. And it's really, it's another interesting idea of innovative storytelling where people take something that exists and they're like, oh, no one's done this before, let's try this. You know what I mean? And it's a really fun watch, and it's cool, and it's heartwarming.
Great, dude.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. It's on MUBI. I don't know if it's on MUBI locally, but it's on MUBI.
Yeah, so that's MUBI, which is the thinking man's Netflix.
Yeah.
The cinephile's Netflix.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love hearing about
Check
that.
it out. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go on to TV.
Cool.
I think one thing that's worth a mention is we got invited as the video store to attend the launch of David Blaine Do Not Attempt, which is quite a cool, interesting concept. This is a National Geographic show that is going to come to Disney Plus from the 24th of March. So real soon, good old David Blaine in all his magical, weird, gross body horror glory.
Is Dead Eyes.
Is looking at all the sort of magic around the world and the craziness of it all. And episodes are shot in South Africa, which is very cool.
Oh, rad.
So,
That's cool.
a lot of what he does isn't just simple magic. A lot of it is like pushing the physical body. David Blaine's one of those people that have scientifically figured out how he could like put a stake through his hand. You know, it looks
Science.
like it looks like magic, but he's actually just figured out, you know, if it goes through there, it doesn't hit any nerves and whatever. So he's pushed his body.
Weirdo.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so there is a scene, for
Fucking
example,
witch, dude.
in Joburg where they go and watch Spinners, which is, you know, the classic Fast and the Furious kind of Joburg thing, which we
Okay.
see. And, you know, it is a remarkably unique South African thing to be in those cars and spinning.
Yeah.
But, you know, he sees it as a kind of a form of magic, and the fact that these people have very expertly been able to put their lives at risk to do these shows. They do a show
Right.
very similar to how he does this kind of magic show that puts his body at risk. He finds a dude just in Durban who sits in a room with black mambas. You know, snake sitting exists as a thing, but this guy it's so funny. He's this old bully, and he's like, people have got the wrong idea about mambas. You know,
Do they?
And then it's like, and then you're like, why is he in crutches? What happened to the bottom left of his left leg?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, they're fine. They're not going to bite you, but don't fucking move. And of course,
Awesome.
like, you can see David Blaine like genuinely fucking scared, to sit in this room.
Hey.
I
So
like that
it's
when you
cool.
see those like mythic figures actually appear human. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah, and you realize like the stakes, and what is cool is sort of one of the local people that are kind of showing him around, and almost a little bit of a co-host is Muzi, the musician, who we've had
Oh, cool.
come and visit us here at the video store. We've got a lovely episode with him in the back catalogs. So through Muzi and Muzi's really cool manager John, I met the crew when they came out.
Oh, cool.
And it was cool to know that this show was going to happen, and
That's
then it
very
was,
cool.
and that was months ago, and so it was really cool to then be invited to the launch,
Okay.
see this kind of final product, and it's going to be good television.
When does it drop?
Soon, 24th of March
Oh, sick.
on Disney
Oh,
Plus,
wow.
and of course
okay, tomorrow, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's cool. I like that. And they also were talking about the head of Disney in South Africa was showing us all the upcoming shows, and what also some of the new releases, and included in that is the No Taste Like Home, which I just fucking love.
Oh, yeah, you
which is the
recommended that to
Anthony.
you. Yeah,
I recommended it to you. The Anthony from
Yes.
Queer Eye.
yeah yummy
Yes.
Anthony. Yeah.
That's still
Yummy Anthony.
that still is worth another mention, which is
Wow.
on Disney Plus, which is this kind of finding your roots.
I love those kinds of
lineage,
shows,
but
man.
through food. It's so touching. Such a great show. Such an easy watch. But yeah, I want to just give one more shout out to the fact that I brought up Adolescence last week
Oh, yeah.
and spoke about it. And in the last week, it's been incredible to see how much attention it's since gotten.
Yeah.
Where the world is like, oh my God, this is an incredible piece of
Like
of
storytelling.
film, of
yeah.
storytelling. What I didn't know, which I came to realize when watching some of this stuff the last week, is that the main dude, the dad, he created it. He wrote it.
Stephen Graham
Yeah.
from This Is England. That guy.
He's the main.
Yeah,
he's
so
the father
I
in
need to watch-
Adolescence.
Yeah, Stephen Graham. He's
he's
amazing.
from like he was in Snatch.
Yeah, he's
I know.
Are you waiting
Tommy.
for? Are you
Yeah.
waiting for the Germans?
Yeah.
So he's the dad.
He's fucking
So
phenomenal.
quick. Have you seen this? Do you know what we're talking
I know
about?
what you're talking about.
Okay,
I've
so
seen it.
quick back of the box. It's a 4-part series with the most spectacular concept, which is the fact that every episode is one interrupted, uncut, single take.
Yeah.
Now, you hear this in other films like 1917 and a few others, but they used very careful blocking and editing to hide that. This is not that. This is very clearly
One take.
one take, and it was rehearsed like a play, performed like a play, and it tells the story of a young boy who murders a young girl, and the next morning he's picked up. The first episode is literally the raid on the house as they get this boy and take him to the police station.
Fuck.
It's actually not a whodunit, because you
You
come
know
to,
who
you
did
come
it,
to
yeah.
realize this, and a part of me still, while watching it the first time, thought, is this a whodunit? But later, when you hear him talking in interviews, he's like, no, we come to know he did it. That part wasn't a mystery. They still leave it somewhat ambiguous, but he's like, that part's not a mystery. The point of the show is how did we get there? And he said that what inspired him was reading the fact that these kinds of murders have taken place, and they took place in different parts of the country, in the UK, and it was happening. And so that's what inspired him to write this crazy story of how does something like this happen?
Wow.
It's interesting because, Stephen Graham was. Did you ever watch Boiling Point?
That was like the sort of Wall Street stocks.
No. So
was
Stephen
that?
Graham, he plays a chef on one crazy night at his restaurant, and it's also a one-er.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that came out like 2 years ago. So it's interesting.
So he obviously knows that technique.
Yeah,
and it's not a difficult thing to watch because we live our lives real time.
Yes.
So it's not difficult as the human to watch that. It's not a stretch. And someone like Les, who was watching, this is my wife, was watching in a bit second screen,
Okay.
which I think a lot of Netflix viewers do watch. And every time you look down and look up again, it might in your brain feel like it's
There's been a
cutting.
cut.
She was like, no, it cut to the boy. I was like, no, it didn't. I was watching it. I wasn't on my phone. I knew this concept. But you'd find this interesting to hear. I didn't bring it up. And only after the second episode, I said, have you noticed the filmmaking technique that makes this fundamentally different to anything else we've watched? And she's like, what are you talking about?
Oh, hectic. Yeah.
And then I revealed it to her and she's like, cool.
yeah. It feels like it's this year's Baby Reindeer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of
it's definitely
runaway hits for something that's smaller,
Yes.
know, and British.
but the acting is undeniably incredible.
Stephen Graham is
Yes.
fucking incredible.
And
Man.
Stephen Graham's always been great.
And it just
so
shows you the actor. This is what I said last week, is that a theater is the actor's medium because it's just you. You're up there. And it's just you. There's no cutting and fancy direction or
Yeah.
CGI. It's just you. And so you can really see the talent of someone if you watch them in a play.
Absolutely.
And so you are now watching these actors basically perform a play that's televised.
Yeah.
And so you really get to see their chops. And the boy in question, who's on the embroiled in all of this, he was not a theater actor. He wasn't an actor. He was a first timer.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And
That's
so that really makes it special.
Yeah.
yeah.
So but I don't want to talk more because we spoke about it last week. So you can hear it then. But Adolescence on Netflix.
I really want to check it out.
Really worth your time. There's a part of it near the end that gets a little bit hardcore to watch.
Right.
Like it's quite emotionally taxing, but very much worth it.
Okay.
Speaking of smart, cerebral shows, Severance.
Yeah.
How's it for you?
So just finished this weekend. Best show on TV.
Really?
Really?
For me, best show on TV right now. It's fucking phenomenal. Like,
What is good about it?
it's just so smart. It's so fucking well written. It's so well directed. It's got that level of mystery that I love in a TV show, where like it just takes your life up. You know what I mean? Where you're
Sure.
like, what the fuck could this mean? What the fuck could that mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't come any closer to understanding the bigger puzzle.
There are some reveals this season
What
where
Lumen is.
yeah, like what the numbers mean, like that they're playing with
Oh,
in the
yes.
computer. So the thing is, like after this season, I was like, I can't picture it going for another 2 seasons. I think season 3 needs to be the last.
They have to have worked out. Well, they have to have.
So yeah, Ben
Had this
Stiller
figured
has
out.
said that he knows how it ends. They've already discussed it because the problem with those kinds of shows, you don't want to build a mystery that runs away from you. You know
No,
what
of
I mean?
course. It's
Yes.
like,
Lost had that problem. So Lost, Damon.
Debatable.
No, I loved Lost.
Okay.
I fucking loved
Yeah, I
Lost.
know.
Rewatching it as well. People who don't understand
you
that
can't-
ending,
Oh,
are you fucking
stupid, dude.
kidding me?
but you can't milk the teat because
Yeah,
the more
yeah.
you milk it, the more you're like, oh my god.
So-
where's
so-
this
We're
coming
running out of milk.
So
Yeah.
in reference to Lost, so Damon Lindelof, who created that, he's a fucking genius. He did The Leftovers, which is my all-time favorite show, and he did Watchmen, which is incredible, and he did Mrs. Davis, which is hysterical, and you need to watch it.
Okay.
He's doing Green Lantern right now. Anyways, so when he did Lost, he learned his lesson from that, where they wanted that show to be like 3 seasons, but because it was so massive ABC was like, no, let's fucking milk this.
Right.
So they often he learnt his mistake that they built mysteries and that got away from them. That's why by the end of it, there are some mysteries that aren't answered and stuff. But with The Leftovers, one of my favorite parts about that show is the theme song from seasons 2 and 3 is she literally sings, I suppose I'll just let the mystery be. And that's great.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't need all the answers.
You don't.
You know what I mean? You need the answers to things that you are fucking highlighting heavily.
Yes.
Like, this is the core mystery of the whole thing. This is what we do. Severance, I feel like, isn't doing that, which is great. And
So how's Lindelof involved?
No. So that's what I'm just saying is that Lindelof is a guy where he learned from his mistake, and his shows that have followed since have been short seasons, short runs.
So Severance is learning from his lessons.
Yeah, I think so. And just Severance is just so fucking smart. It's such a good observation of our fucking lives in corporate industries, in any kind of work. We want to separate our work lives from our home lives, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking smart. I mean, this last episode is just event after event after event. It's just the most tense fucking finale I've seen in a long time.
Okay, so we're at the end of season 2 now. It's come
just
out.
ended.
It's just ended, season 2. Okay, so
there's
it's
this final frame that you guys would fucking froth over. Oh my god!
because the first season also ended on this incredible cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And this is over on Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, and it ended in such a way that you were very excited.
Yeah, careful, he hasn't finished.
But then season 2 took a long time to come out.
Yeah, 3 years because
and so the advice, because I started season 2 going, wait, what's this again? And who's what? The innies and the outies. And so you actually realize you got to watch season 1 again.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
So that's what folks are doing. But yeah, the basic back of the box is you've got this point in society where you can sever your work life from your
home life.
Yeah. And our main character, as he sort of travels down the lift into his almost basement office, becomes a different person, and he's got his life there with the people and the things that they're doing, and that's all he knows there. And when he gets upstairs, he doesn't know what he's doing, and of course there's now a mystery as to what they're doing down there. Do they know, and how do you communicate between this kind of these severed parts of your life?
Yeah, it's a really dense philosophical idea, because it's the whole when you start to contemplate what the innies are, as they do in the show, is that they are essentially lab rats. They only exist at work life. So that's their whole life and there's a great moment in season 1. I don't know if I'm Mandela affecting myself, but they suddenly just feel refreshed, where they're like, there's a moment where you'll just suddenly feel refreshed because your outie has slept and refreshed himself. So that you'll be walking around and suddenly you're refreshed, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a phenomenal show. Adam Scott, give him the fucking Emmy. Holy shit. It blows my mind that Ben Stiller, I mean, it's not like Ben Stiller was a bad filmmaker in the first place, but he never really did anything that was this fucking dense and smart and tough. You know what I mean?
It's not the same thing as Secret Life of Walter Mitty, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's on another level.
But even Tropic Thunder has aged really well, because it's it's such a good critique on outrage culture, and when people were trying to cancel Tropic Thunder because of the Robert Downey Jr. performance, but everyone who tried to cancel it didn't actually watch it and realize that was a critique of that.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
No, of course.
So when I remember there was one guy who was oh fuck this movie, I can't believe we haven't canceled Robert Downey Jr. What the fuck? And he watched the movie and he actually rescinded his comments because he was like, oh, I actually that was the point.
No. That film never deserved anything, and it didn't actually really get it. It's been praised more than criticized.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a little bit like what we were debating
earlier. You got an
earlier.
Oscar nomination for that.
No, of course, it's wild.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. There will always be that criticism, but where is it in the balances?
Yes.
It was far outweighed by people going, "This is funny. I get it.
Yeah.
It's smart."
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's when that topples that it becomes an issue, which this clearly was the case with Snow White.
Yes.
But anyway, Severance is amazing. Go watch
cool.
it.
Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Last thing to chat about, White Lotus.
Okay, so White Lotus, I'm not up to date with episode 5 yet, and 6 as this comes out. But I'm loving it. It's so good. I mean, what's the name of the guy who created the show? White. Mark White.
Oh, Mark White, yeah.
He's
So
Ned
good.
Schneebly in
Yes.
School of Rock.
School of Rock. And he was on 2 seasons of Survivor, I think.
And he's cast a lot of the Survivor people in the shows.
Oh, cool.
There'll be like background extras or something. So
Like
like
the
I'm a
person
big
behind the
Survivor
counter.
watcher. So like I'll be like, oh, there's so and so, you know. But yeah, great show. It's just such good fucking writing. It's funny. It's like, oh, it's so good. There's so much drama, not like drama. You know what I mean? Like
it's always a
drama.
crisis.
yeah, drama.
Season 1 and 2
exactly.
is like incessant crisis
It's
the whole
so
time.
good. Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite lines ever is the gays are trying to kill me.
These gays, they're trying to kill me.
Who do I look like? Peppa Pig. So funny.
There's I haven't seen it yet, but I know that.
Oh, you haven't started?
No, yeah, I
The
haven't
new
started
season,
yet.
yeah. Okay.
There's a hang dong moment.
Oh yeah, it's Oscar, not Oscar Isaac.
It's Patrick Schwarzenegger, isn't it?
No, it's Isaac. Did you watch the OA?
No.
Fuck.
No, but you are going to see Patrick Schwarzenegger's dick in this movie. In this,
I haven't seen it yet, but we've seen the character who plays his dad's dong, and
Okay.
we need to do a dong episode. Cole.
Oh, yeah, we still have to do our Hang Dong episode.
But no, but it's fucking great TV. It's just funny. It's interesting. Characters are great,
and it's still a whodunit, right?
yeah, like they're always the
What's a who died?
yeah the
You
hook,
know there's going to be a death.
the hook always every season starts with a random body shows up, but we don't see who it is, and then it kicks into gear.
Okay,
And
so this is the same.
this one's got the most like extreme start I've seen. So like
Hectic.
there's like machine gun fire at the beginning. and
Oh
then,
my God.
yeah, it's
Okay.
fucking crazy. So like
Okay.
I'm loving it.
I've also
Yeah.
loved hearing the fact that so obviously each season is at a different hotel,
Yeah.
Yes.
which
The
is
same-
another White
always the
Lotus,
White Lotus,
hotel.
Yeah.
And they're across the world, and apparently these hotels are just getting the most incredible bookings. Obviously, the even though these atrocities maybe happen in the fictional version
Yeah.
of it, people have obviously been watching these incredible, beautiful hotels,
Yes.
and they find out where they actually were shot, and bookings are skyrocketing around the world.
Genius.
Yeah, it's always the class dynamic in each season. So they'll always follow these rich, privileged people,
Yeah.
and then people who are like kind of in the middle, where they're just there by chance, and then the people who are working for them,
Yeah.
and to the quote unquote the lower class according
Yes.
to them, right? And yeah, I mean, it's also every season's got such a good cast. I mean, Walton Goggins is amazing. I always forget Walton Goggins isn't he doesn't have a southern accent
Oh,
normally.
doesn't he?
He's just a normal dude. It's
He's
like
always cast as that guy.
Yeah, exactly. And he's so good in this. He's just like I also love the mystery of White Lotus. There's all these characters you just slowly unpack and unwind every episode.
Yeah, it's like it's all about predicting how they're going to
Yeah,
collide because you know that
exactly.
there's a collision coming.
and you start going, oh, this person so and so is going to die. Oh, yeah, but like it's the theme songs changed. I actually prefer the theme song to the
I
other
know
ones.
the first two are iconic.
Yeah,
the
no,
first one.
I think this one slaps. But
Okay,
yeah,
people aren't happy about it because it's a
Loving it.
banger.
yeah.
Let's talk about Wheel of Time.
So, Wheel of Time fantasy series on Amazon Prime. You should remember me talking about it before. It's based on the Wheel of Time books by Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
And there's like
Okay.
13 of them. They're each 1,000 pages long. It's like if you're a fantasy reader, it's always a thing that you get into Wheel of Time and you do it.
It's going to come for you eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to take you a boost long time to get through all those books. But now they're adapting them. And there are 13 books. We're on season 3. I think each season is a book, if I'm not mistaken. But it's basically a chosen one story set in this magical universe that has its own kind of rules around magic.
A chosen what universe?
A chosen one story.
Okay.
So like there's a person who is the chosen one, the prophesized person.
Okay.
You know, which I always kind of roll my eyes at, but it's actually like done pretty well. It's really cool. The idea is that men cannot wield magic in this world because if they wield what's called the darkness or the light, they become corrupt and they go insane. It like destroys their mind completely. But women can use it. So there's this
cool.
council of women, and they each like have a color, and each of those colors represents a different facet of using that magic. So for example, there are the reds, and their entire job is to hunt down men that wield magic so they can I can't remember what it's called, but they like sever their connection to magic. So they can't use anymore. We can't have any.
So each season you think is a book.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and there's 13 of these
Jeez.
books.
So,
Okay, so we've got-
imagine there must be some kind of condensing going on.
Yeah,
like in the
must be.
adaptation.
There has to be, yeah.
Okay,
But-
but when were the books written? Do you know?
I think it's like early 90s. I know that there's an author called Brandon Sanderson who wrote
Yes.
a really cool series of books called the Mistborn Trilogy and the Stormlight Archives. And he's like this really popular fantasy author. And when Robert Jordan died,
Okay, I was about to
he
say, has
took
that...
over and wrote his final 3 books based on his notes.
Okay.
I think it was 3. I can't remember exactly.
Okay, so there is a finite amount, and it's not like there could even be more.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Okay, Wheel of Time.
yeah, it's also one of these
Amazon.
series in the new like kind of Rings of Power era
Mm.
where we have like a lot of people of color in fantasy that we haven't had before. It's like predominantly women instead of men in fantasy.
But it sounds like the story pushes for that,
No,
allows
exactly.
for that to be
it's
the
like
case.
this world that's like 10,000 years after technology.
Oh,
It's like a
Dune,
post-apocalyptic
yeah.
world actually.
Okay.
It's very much like Dune, yeah.
Okay.
So
Isn't it
it's-
Rosamund Pike? Yeah. Oh, I love her.
And I think that Rosamund Pike, I'm going to make this claim. I don't know if I'm right, but I think she's the best eye actor in the world.
Oh, interesting.
So like if she couldn't move the rest of her face, she could carry a performance with just her eyes.
It's like James Gandolfini in The Sopranos. Fucking
Oh, is he
incredible
also an
eye
eye
actor.
actor?
Yeah, he was such a great eye actor.
dude, like the amounts of
Ryan
emotion
Gosling.
in
Ryan
those
Gosling,
eyes.
great eye actor.
He is a good eye actor. Yes.
It's interesting.
Show
I never
some
thought of
dong.
that as a term. Is
Yeah.
No, you just watch her eyes and you're always just like,
that what you wish for?
What?
God.
Show some dong. Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
absolute.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a prosthetic, but still.
Yeah, oh, come on. That's fine. We'll take it. It'll make our list. We just
Yeah.
want to make our list. That's all. That's all we want to do.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! All right, magic, guys. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Kolsky. It was lovely to see you again in
Oh,
your
yeah.
in your great Timothy Chalamet shirt.
Best
you.
shirt in the world.
Best
That's
shirt in
so
the
good.
world.
So good.
And thank you, P-Dog.
Pleasure.
It's nice to
Thank
have
you.
you back.
Thanks
It's nice
for having
to-
me here, guys.
It's nice to have you unpack your brain.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a very dense cupboard
Yeah, sorry.
with lots of
Sorry if I
with
got
lots
crumbs
of
on your shirt there.
with
you know.
lots of information. No,
Yeah.
I love it when you sort of open the cupboard and we can just see how many films there are inside.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for wandering in. Thank you for listening while we have ourselves our chat
Cool.
behind the counter, and we'll see you again next week. We're going to be open for business again next week, and you can wander in and enjoy the video store.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bye.
All right. The home base is thevideostore.co.za, and you can see everything there. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.